Hey friends, BBQ Jones here. 105 degrees in Phoenix. We're just hanging out by the pool, trying to stay cool. What we're going to talk about today is beef ribs. And are beef ribs overrated in barbecue? Now, some say that beef ribs are
the king of barbecue. There is nothing that can stand up to a beef rib.
But are they? Let's discuss today. Let's cook some, and let's see what we think. Let's get started. So several months ago, I did a video where I cooked some Dino ribs, and I'll put that link up above. And I gotta say, I was a little bit underwhelmed. Maybe it was me, maybe I didn't cook them, exactly right, but I'd have to think about it again before spending the $75 for that kind of meat. I know that Meat Church did some beef ribs as well. I looked up where he did his, and they were 44 Farms ribs. And I try and maybe get some of those, and they were about $135. So I'm thinking, well, let's go see what Safeway has. So here's what we ended up with. I've got us some beef back ribs, USDA choice, cost us $18. So if they're not that good, can't go wrong. I'd venture out even to guess and say that it's one of the least cooked barbecue meat out there. So put your comments down below. Let me know if you agree with that or not. But I thought this would be a great test, a little experiment to see just how your average beef ribs could turn out. We're going to do these as best we can. We're going to put a little bit of rub on them. We'll put them out on the Traeger. We'll get them smoked up, and let's see how they do. All right, so what I thought we'd do today is we're going to do half these beef ribs with the Meat Church Holy Cow. We're going to do the other half with Suckle Busters. We'll just do a little bit of a comparison here. And also, if you'll notice the way these beef ribs are done, instead of the kind of 3 bone-in dino rib type, these are all separated. So that's going to let us get a good coat of rub all over the beef, and that should give us some good overall coverage for the bark. All right, let's get the rub on. It's been interesting here. You'll see that it's a little harder to get it on the sides because the sides are fairly thin. But that's what we're working with. So we'll see how we can get it all. That's what we're working with. So we'll just do our best coat here. I think we'll do 4 Holy Cow and 3 Suckle Busters. That's how I'm going to break her down. Some of this excess on here. All right, let's get started with our Suckle Busters. Both these are good. I would consider both these good Texas beef rubs. Very hearty. Matt Pittman actually said so himself on his Holy Cow. That's what he used to do on his beef ribs. So perfect to do on these. Suckle Busters has a nice peppery content. I think it's, when you think of beef rubs in Texas, I think this comes to the top. Whoop. A little knock on the camera there. The other maybe knock on the beef ribs is just the meat content and trying to make sure you can get enough meat off these bones versus a pork rib where you always pretty much know what you're gonna get. We need a little bit more holy cow right there. All right, we're gonna let this sit here for a little bit. Let's go fire up the Traeger. We might even put a little bit more rub on here in a few minutes. All right. We've got the rub sweated in. We've got the Traeger up to temp. That was probably the fastest preheat I've ever seen in my life. I think the preheat started about 160. It didn't take long to get up to 225. So before we go throw them on the grill, let's just compare these two rubs. Let's take a look. So you can see here, good pepper notes in that, a good red color. That's good for our beef. Okay, let's take a look at our suckle busters. Not quite as dark on the red, but you can definitely see the pepper in there. These are both good Texas beef rubs. All right, let's get these on the Traeger. We're gonna run it at 225 on super smoke. Heck, we may not even put it in the grill. I think they'll just cook outside here just about as good. All right, let's get them on. All right, these are our suckle busters, followed by our meat church. All right, we're not going to touch these for several hours. Get them up to about 175 and then give them a wrap. We'll see you in a few hours. All right, I just woke up from a nap. We're going to give our ribs a check here for our first look. It's been about 2.5 hours. It's 4:30 now. Yeah, they're looking pretty good. I don't think they're quite ready to do any wrapping yet. Still feel a little bit I still think the bark has a little bit of ways to go. So let's go ahead and put the lid back on and we'll keep on trucking. All right, so I thought I'd do a check here, see where we're at. Made a decision. I think what we're gonna do is just cook them straight through until they're ready to eat. And I'm not gonna wrap these. I'm just gonna cook them 205-ish and then eat them. We're temping about 170 here. I mean, you can feel here, not a ton of meat. That's kind of beef ribs in general, 166. So we've got ways to go. I think we got a good bark going though. So we'll just let them roll and go with it. All right, it's been almost 7 hours. You can tell it's kind of getting dark outside here. So let's give these a check. Bark's looking real good. Temping about 200. Might just call it and see what happens. I think we're in pretty good shape. I'm gonna pull these and then we'll let them rest for 30 minutes or so and then we'll give them a try. All right, we've let our beef ribs rest here. You can see the 4 on the left are the meat church, 3 on the right are the suckle busters. So let's give it a taste test and let's see if these beef ribs have lived up to the hype. First, we'll do the suckle busters. Let's take a bite. I gotta say, that's pretty good. Can't say there's a lot of meat on these, but I'd say it's pretty delicious. Maybe even better than I thought it would be. I'm actually pretty happy with that. Okay, now that we've tried our meat church, let's go with our Suckle Busters rub. All right, let's kind of see how that did. Take this bite right here. Pretty similar taste profiles. Falling off the bone. Good bite. I gotta say, these may be as good or as better than those dino ribs I cooked that were $75. And these were just $18.75 or something like that. I think this was a test well worth it. Very good. So as we wrap up here, let's all go out, cook some barbecue. You know, try these beef ribs. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like and subscribe the videos. We've been doing pretty well on the subscribers. Like to get to 500 and then go on up from there. And go cook some barbecue this weekend. Forget about anything else going on in the world. Eat, barbecue, and enjoy your family, because we're all jonesing for some barbecue. Because we're all jonesing for some barbecue.
Go Cowboys!